My wife betrayed me with her mother in a brutal fraud. They demanded $3 million for divorce, but I flipped the mother-in-law and left them with nothing. I'm 52 years old. I'm the CEO of a tech company I founded like 20 years ago, and I need to tell this story because I basically married someone who betrayed me in the most calculated way you can imagine. And the worst part is I should have seen it coming, because it's not the first time something like this has happened to me, but I guess you always want to believe that this time is different, you know? Let me start from the beginning, so you understand why this affected me so much. When I was like 38, I married Jessica, a woman I met at a business conference. Everything seemed perfect at first. I mean, she was smart, successful, we had things in common. We lasted 2 years, married, and when she asked for a divorce, turns out she took an absurd amount of money. We didn't have a prenup because, well, I was an idiot who thought love was enough. After that, I became super distrustful of women, especially when I noticed they showed too much interest in my money. I spent years dating some people, but never let things get serious. Like I always kept a certain emotional distance because I didn't want to go through the same thing again. So like 4 years ago, I hired Veronica for the marketing department. She was 27 at the time, good at her job, professional, and honestly, I didn't think much about her beyond that. But we started running into each other in meetings. Sometimes we'd have lunch with the team, and, I don't know, there started to be something there. She was different from the other women I had met after Jessica. She didn't ask about my money, didn't make comments about my house or my car, literally seemed interested in me as a person. One day, after a particularly long meeting, we stayed talking and ended up going out to dinner. It was casual, no pressure, and I liked that. We started dating discreetly because she worked for me and, honestly, I didn't want there to be problems at the office. For 6 months, we kept things super private. We'd see each other outside of work, at my house, or in places where nobody knew us. But turns out someone at the office saw us together, and the rumors started. Things got uncomfortable because people started talking, and Veronica came to my office one day and told me, "Look, if we're going to continue with this, we need to make it official, because these gossips are affecting me professionally." She was right. So we made it public, and she left her position at my company to work somewhere else. Everything seemed to be handled well, you know? After a year of being together officially, Veronica brought up the topic of marriage. She told me she loved me, that she wanted to build a life with me, that we weren't kids anymore and it made sense to take the next step. I got nervous, honestly, because after Jessica I had this constant fear that someone would use me again. But then Veronica did something that completely surprised me. She told me, "I know you're scared because of what happened in your previous marriage, so let's sign a prenup. I want to be with you, for you, not for your money. And if a legal document makes you feel safer, let's do it." Like, here was a woman who was willing to protect my interests without me asking her to. I felt like an idiot for having doubted her. I told her yes, that I would marry her. And literally a week later we were married. It was a small ceremony. Just some close friends and her mother, Gloria. Veronica's mother was a woman of like 55 years old. Very kind, always smiling, and from the beginning she moved in with us. Veronica explained to me that her mom had had some financial problems and that it would be temporary while she found her own place. It didn't bother me, honestly. My house is huge and Gloria was good company. She cooked amazing food, took care of some things around the house, and the three of us got along well. It was like having a small functional family for the first time in years. For several months, everything was perfect. Veronica and I were happy. Gloria was with us. Things at work were going well. I thought, I finally found someone who loves me for who I am. How stupid I was. Seriously. Like a year after we got married, Gloria started talking about moving to her own place. She said she had found a small house she liked, but needed help with the loan. She asked me if I could co-sign the bank papers because her credit wasn't very good. I told her sure. No problem. She was my mother-in-law, and I wanted to help her. She sent me the documents by email. They were like 40 pages of legal bank paperwork. You know how those things are, super dense and boring. But I'm the CEO of a tech company, not an idiot who signs things without reading. Especially after what happened to me with Jessica. I started reviewing the documents carefully, page by page, and at first everything seemed normal. loan terms, interest rates, the typical things you expect to see. But then I got to a section, like on page 28, that said something about previous marital agreements and retroactive modification clauses. I stopped there because I thought, what does a house loan have to do with marriages? I kept reading, and what I found left me frozen. There was a clause buried in the middle of all that legal language that basically said that by co-signing these documents, I was agreeing to invalidate any existing prenuptial agreement and that my wife would have the right to 50% of my assets in case of divorce. I sat there in my office staring at my computer screen, unable to process what I was reading. I read that section like 10 times to make sure I was understanding correctly. I was. Someone had specifically designed these documents to look like a normal mortgage loan, when in reality, they were a legal trap to annul my prenup. And the only person who had a reason to do that was my wife. Or my mother-in-law. Or probably both of them together. I felt like I had been kicked in the stomach. All the signs were there, from the beginning, and I was too blind to see them. The rumors at the office that casually forced Veronica to ask me to make the relationship official. Her insistence on getting married quickly. The fact that her mother moved in with us immediately. Everything had been calculated. Every step, every moment, and I had fallen for it like a complete idiot. I didn't tell them anything. That same afternoon, I came home and told them both they needed to leave immediately. Veronica asked me what was wrong, tried to touch my arm, and I pulled away. I told her, "You have 1 hour to pack your things and get out of my house." Gloria started crying and saying she didn't understand what was happening. I just kept repeating, 1 hour, and then I called security to make sure they left. I didn't give them explanations. I didn't yell at them. I simply removed them from my life in that moment. The next few months were horrible, honestly. Veronica called me constantly, sent me messages, emails, showed up at my office. I blocked everything. I told my assistant not to accept anything from her. Gloria also tried to contact me, but I ignored her the same way. I hired Andrew, my lawyer, the same one who helped me with Jessica's divorce, and I explained the whole situation to him. He prepared the divorce papers and we sent them to her. I thought it would be simple, that she would sign and that's it, but Veronica refused to acknowledge the documents unless I saw her in person. Andrew advised me to go, that probably she wanted to close things or give explanations, that it would be better for both of us to have that conversation. I didn't want to see her, honestly, but I understood I needed to do it to be able to move forward. We agreed to meet at a neutral restaurant, a public place where she couldn't make a scene. She arrived with red eyes, like she had been crying for days. She sat in front of me and started apologizing. She told me she was so sorry, that it had all been her mother's idea, that she had only followed the plan because Gloria convinced her it was the only way to secure her future. She said her mom had grown up in extreme poverty and had put it in her head that rich men always abandon their wives and leave them with nothing. That the prenup terrified her because it meant that if I got tired of her, she would be left with nothing. She cried, begged me to understand, that she really loved me and that she had been weak for listening to her mother. I sat there listening to her and feeling absolutely nothing. Like, maybe at another time, with another person, I would have been moved. But after Jessica, after years of being cautious, of finally opening up to someone who seemed different, only to discover that everything was a lie from the beginning, I couldn't feel anything but contempt. I told her to sign the papers and never try to contact me again. But then Veronica changed completely. She dried her tears and told me, "Okay, if that's how you want it, but it's going to cost you." She demanded $3 million to sign the divorce. $3 million. I told her she was crazy, that we had a prenup and she wasn't going to get anything. She smiled, and that smile gave me chills, and told me, "Oh yeah, your prenup. But what are the media going to think when I tell them you cheated on me? What's going to happen to your reputation and your company when it comes out in the news that the great CEO James cheated on his young wife?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I told her that was a lie and that I had never been unfaithful to her. She shrugged and told me, "It doesn't matter if it's true or not. What matters is what people believe. And I have friends who are willing to say they saw you with me while you were still with Jessica. that our relationship started much earlier than you admitted, that you're an abusive boss who takes advantage of his employees. I can destroy you, James. So give me the money, or give me another option. We stay married. You give me a good life. I stay quiet, and everyone's happy. I got up from that table feeling angrier than I had felt in years. But I also knew I couldn't let her win. I called Andrew that same night and told him everything. He told me we had options, but that we needed to be smart. He suggested something that at first seemed impossible to me. Talk to Gloria. Turns out Andrew had investigated a little and discovered that Gloria was living alone in a cheap apartment after she and Veronica fought over something related to money. Like, the irony of them betraying each other after conspiring together to betray me was almost funny. Almost. Andrew arranged a meeting with Gloria at his office. When she arrived, she looked different from how I remembered her. Older, more tired, without that fake smile she always had. I asked her directly, whose idea was it? She didn't look me in the eyes when she answered. She said it had been Veronica's from the beginning. That my wife had orchestrated the rumors at the office on purpose to force me to make the relationship official. That she had calculated exactly how long to wait before proposing marriage. That the prenup had been her idea to gain my trust. That everything, absolutely everything, had been a long-term plan to marry me and then find a way to annul the prenup. Gloria told me she had only participated because Veronica promised her they would share the money after the divorce. But that after I kicked them out of the house, Veronica blamed her for ruining everything and refused to help her financially. That her own daughter had basically abandoned her after using her name for the fake house loan. I asked her if she would be willing to testify about all this in court. She was silent for a long time, and then asked, "What do I get out of this?" Andrew offered her something simple. The house she was originally going to buy with the loan, plus $100,000. In exchange, she would give us all the information we needed and testify if necessary. Gloria accepted without hesitation. I guess betrayal is a family business for them. With Gloria's information, Andrew was able to build a solid case. We found 20 people in my old office who were willing to testify that there was never any inappropriate behavior on my part with Veronica or any other employee. We got the text messages between Veronica and Gloria, where they discussed the details of their plan. We had everything we needed to not only defend the prenup, but potentially charge her with fraud. The final hearing was like 3 months after that meeting at the restaurant. Veronica arrived with her own lawyer, still acting like she had some kind of advantage. Andrew started presenting all our evidence. The fraudulent loan documents, the employee testimonies, the messages between her and her mother, and finally, he told her that her own mother was ready to testify in my favor. I saw how Veronica's face changed from confident to pale in seconds. I told her, directly, in front of her lawyer and the judge, "You can sign these papers now and get out of this with nothing but no criminal charges, or I can proceed with fraud and conspiracy charges that will probably send you to prison. You decide." Her lawyer whispered something in her ear and she nodded. She signed the divorce papers without saying a word. 0 money, 0 assets, nothing. The prenup remained completely intact. The last thing I heard about Veronica is that she and Gloria somehow reconciled and now live together somewhere. I don't care, honestly. Andrew told me I gave Gloria the house and the money as we promised, and as far as I know, she maintains minimal contact with her daughter. The irony that they ended up depending on each other after everything is almost poetic. I'm 52 years old. I work more than ever at my company, and I guess I should feel relieved that Veronica is out of my life. And I am, in a certain sense. But she also left me with this certainty that I'm never going to be able to completely trust anyone again. Last week, a friend asked me if I would consider dating someone again. Eventually. I told him I didn't know. That maybe, or maybe not. And that's enough for now, I guess.